Aha! Hello everyone, it is I, the man, the myth, the mustache, Tim here, and by the dark forces I give to you another video! Welcome to part 12 of What If Midoriya was an all-for-one fan. Sit back and relax as best you can, because you are in for a treat. With that out of the way, let's get the story going, shall we? Midoriya listened to All-for-One's plan intently, and paused for a moment, contemplating everything he'd need to do to accomplish the task assigned to him and the rest of the League. Then it hit him, an alternate plan that had proved far more fruitful to his master. As he put on a fresh helmet, Midoriya turned to the screen marked audio only and spoke. Master, might I make a suggestion and add to our end objectives? There was no hesitation or even a pause from All-for-One. He replied immediately to Midoriya's query with a warm and welcoming tone.
You need not ask me such things, young Izuku. We are practically family after all, at this point, as is Tamura. So, what is your plan, Tactic Hill?
All-for-One gave a rare fatherly aura when he spoke to Midoriya, acting like a better father figure than Hisashi had ever done. Midoriya pondered if it'd be too much of a request All-for-One unofficially adopt him like he had Shigaraki, seeing as Midoriya had no family to go to anymore, besides the League anyway. Well, Master, seeing as we're at Island anyway, why don't we push ourselves and capture the entire island? According to these blueprints here, the island has a built-in emergency plate separation system, designed to eject any areas from the island that pose a significant threat and need to be isolated immediately. First, however, we need to seize the control of the central tower, which, funnily enough, is where the expo is taking place. Once inside, we will cause a little confusion and chaos by detaching the entirety of Island from each other. Then, we'll need to reprogram the entire tower's security systems and turn them against the poor, hapless heroes. Once all the heroes and scientists are dealt with, we will then activate the central tower's emergency tsunami guard walls, turning it into the perfect mobile fortress for the League. All-for-One paused in a deafening silence after Midoriya had finished, before breaking out into a thunderous applause and dark, twisted laughter.
Izuku, my boy, you impress me with your genius and willingness to push yourself further with each passing day. Yes, a mobile fortress with security already on par with Tartarus Prison. Those fools have no idea the potential they're standing on and using to host their little science fairs. I concur with your plan, Izuku. Make it happen at all costs. This will truly be the most delicious victory for us yet.
All-for-One cackled behind his monitor with a devious grin as he turned in his chair to look over the sea of enhanced Nomu Midoriya and Ujiko had been collaborating on. This was the army that would aid the League in their conquest of Island. Elsewhere at the UA campus main hall, Nezu had gathered all the students and faculty of UA to give a speech and a mass funeral service to honor the heroes and students that had perished in the Edge-Shot Agency and Hosu attacks inflicted by the League. Many heroes whose lives had been affected by those who were lost to the massacre at the hands of the League were also in attendance. The room was silent as a massive board displayed hundreds of faces of heroes and students lost to that terrible night. The losses weren't just limited to first years, but to second and thirds as well. Izuku Midoriya, deceased. Tenya Ida, missing, presumed deceased. Nato Monoma, deceased. Minoru Mineta, deceased. Kyoka Jiro, deceased. Togaru Kamakiri, deceased. Hitoshi Shinzo, deceased. Toru Hagakure, deceased. Kamui Woods, missing, presumed deceased. Death Arms, missing, presumed deceased. Native, deceased. Enigma, missing, presumed deceased. Edge-Shot, deceased. This list of death and missing in action went on and on. Katsuki Bakugo cursed himself out for not being there to help. Bakugo cursed himself more for what he'd done to Izuku. Sure, the guy was a nerd, a show-off, annoying as hell, and a bit eccentric, but he didn't deserve to die, especially after he'd just let go of his childhood disdain for heroes. What hit Bakugo the hardest was that not only in Midoriya's case, but every single person mentioned on the board hadn't left behind a body to mourn. In some cases, there was just ash or dust left behind. But what was worse were the ones with nothing left behind at all. Students, heroes, and family members. We have all suffered a terrible loss, and I shall not stand by and watch us be targeted as we have been by this League of Villains. In the words of a great student, who unfortunately I must count amongst the dead today, we will prevail. This is what we must do in the face of these villains. Prevail. Normally, we do not encourage this or even speak of it, but after what has happened, this lesson must be taught. The anger and sorrow you all feel, do not let it guide your actions. Instead, hone it. Sharpen it into a spear that will pierce through the bad time and let in the good, giving you the strength to prevail over these villains. Just as young Midoriya had told the world we will. Furthermore, the students that have since been lost to this massacre have all been officially granted the titles of pro heroes. Nezu's speech for the funeral was soft and somber. The usually cheerful principal was broken. The League of Villains had crossed a line in Nezu's eyes. Something had to be done. Furthermore, all students in classes 1A and 1B will be attending an advanced training course at a private location. Please pack according to what your homeroom teachers outline. Nezu stepped away from the microphone and headed to his office, wiping some sweat from his brow using a small handkerchief. Hopefully this would be enough. Upon returning to his office, Nezu found he had misplaced his favorite teacup. Odd, he'd never done this before. Maybe old age was finally catching up with him. Still, this was particular. And was that window always open? In preparation for their mission, Midoriya gathered the League in the training center and went about putting them all through a living hell to push their limits and grant them strength like never before. Not to mention, as a reward for the Edge Shot and Hosu massacres, they'd each been gifted a single new quirk by the great All-for-One. Using the plan Wolfram had in place, the League infiltrated the island using access codes and security blind spots provided by a mole inside the island. As the League got into position at the top floor of the central tower, Midoriya went over a list of personnel who were loyalists to All-for-One's cause and were not to be killed unless they showed any signs of betrayal. Using Kurogiri's warp gates to get to the security room was as easy as a stroll through the park. Midoriya cracked his knuckles before beginning to type in access code after access code until I-Island systems were completely at his fingertips. Izashi, you'll obey the orders from Golden Fox and feedback as if they were from myself during this mission. Furthermore, you will respond to your villain name of Ragnarok. Consider this name a gift from myself, so you do not use your normal name during missions. Am I making myself clear? Izashi nodded at his former son, the man he was, now lost deep within the recesses of his mind. Midoriya began dispatching orders to everyone in order to best execute his plan to seize the island. Excellent! Now feedback. You will lead Phoenix Squadron and secure the labs on the floors below us. Golden Fox, you'll lead everyone else in introducing ourselves to our soon-to-be hostages and entrapped heroes. We wouldn't want to be bad guests now, would we? Mustard, you'll be staying behind with me for protection. Oh, and Dobby? Endeavor is all yours. With the tasks assigned, everyone moved according to plan. The labs were secured in a matter of hours. All except for David Shield's personal lab. Before we get back to the video, I want to talk about our new channel, Celestia. Celestia, a channel dedicated to all things Dungeons & Dragons. Currently we have a series breaking down the different spells in D&D, and soon we'll be starting some new series as well. So, if you're a fan of D&D or have an interest in learning about it, check it out! Additionally, if there is something you've always wanted to see get made into a video, head over there and leave a comment mentioning it. So, why exactly have you kept me behind, Tactical? No disrespect, boss. I know you're the man with a plan, but out of everyone, why me? Wouldn't I be better suited to take out the heroes at the conference? Mustard sat in a chair kicking his legs as he held his silenced SMG upwards, a little nervous to be left alone with Midoriya. For 2 reasons, Mustard. 1, fill this room up with your knockout gas. And 2, to keep me company and give me someone to chat to. Boredom can be such a pain, you know? Mustard gave a confused pause before shrugging and filling the room with his gases, and after training with his quirk as Midoriya had outlined, Mustard was able to divert the flow of toxic knockout gases away from Midoriya to keep his view of the security monitors unobstructed. Elsewhere, in a highly secure laboratory, David Shield worked without rest as he had much to do. Gathered in the laboratory with him were 3 other people: All Might, Inko, and Melissa Shield. Inko was undergoing highly experimental medical procedures, which she'd been subject to ever since she had arrived on the island. In the conference hall, another memorial service was being held to both mourn and celebrate all who were lost in the Great Massacre, until Midoriya pressed enter on the keyboard. Every hero and civilian was wrapped up tightly in some form of advanced capture system. The halls of the tower were now being patrolled by Nomu and reprogrammed drones alike. Quickly bursting into the room was Shigaraki, donning his Golden Fox villain alias, followed closely behind by Hizashi's hulking form, Dabi, Toga, Twice, Magne, and Spinner. The screen showing the memorial service cut to a blank screen with a symbol of a skull with All Might's famous hairstyle, its jaw agape speaking the words, "I am dead," in crimson red and full capitals, whilst to its left and right were the words, "League of Villains," in red.
Okay, everyone, I shouldn't have to introduce ourselves and crap since it's on the goddamn screen and... Wait, where the hell's All Might? Are you fucking kidding me? He isn't where he's supposed to be again? Tactical. Find that blonde annoyance so we can dust him.
Shigaraki grumbled into an earpiece, as Midoriya was already searching every camera feed he had access to. The only places he had blind spots was outside the tower and David's lab. Speaking into his helmet's audio gear, Midoriya spoke to everyone in the league over their earpieces.
Okay, everyone, I want you to pay attention to my orders. Fail to listen, and All Might could end up taking you out for good. Compress, take every hero there and collect them into your marbles. Kurogiri, you retrieve Compress on his trips back and forth from the conference room to Master so he can take the hero's quirks. Spinner, Toga, Magni, I'm diverting 3 Nomu to the conference room. You and the Nomu will be acting as defense and keeping the hostages who aren't heroes in check. Everyone else, including Phoenix Squad, get into David Shield's lab and capture it. If Shield and his daughter are in there, we have 2 key hostages. If All Might and Endeavor are in there, be ready for the fight of your lives.
Receiving confirmation from everyone and one contradiction from Twice, the League moved into position, only stopping after Jiro lifted her hand up when she placed an earphone jack into the massive vault door.
Tactical, I got good news and bad news. David and his daughter are in the lab, as is All Might. The bad news is, I can hear, G-Force.
Jiro spoke up over her earpiece, her own voice masked by her mouthpiece that granted her audio attacks on par with present mics.
She's what? Shit! Okay, calm. Right, this is a massively unexpected turn of events, but we can work with it. She's practically harmless. No. She is a harmless former hero. She's nothing without her quirk's full power. Your orders still stand. If G-Force gets in the way, kill her. She's not even useful enough to become a Nomu.
Midoriya leaned back in his chair watching the monitors, only for one to cut to static, then another, and another. This continued until he was down 5 more cameras. Midoriya wasted no time in dispatching the security drones to the locations first and got a scope of what was going on through their cameras. What the hell? All of 1A and 1B were trying to launch a rescue mission from the looks of it, headed by... God damn it, Aizawa, Vlad King, and Endeavor. Time to make an impression and a debut. Midoriya activated every blast door in the hallway they were running down, leaving them trapped with the drones. Now for a splash of showmanship. The various TV screens blinked to life across the hallway, showing the same symbol and words that were presented before in the conference hall. Activating their audio, Midoriya spoke through all the televisions towards the heroes. My god, this was awesome. This must be how it feels to be his idol. Scrambling his voice more than usual to leave him completely unrecognized, Midoriya began to speak.
Greetings, heroes. Allow me to welcome you to your incoming demises. But where are my manners? I am Tactical, head tactician of the League and second in command to the Golden Fox. Oh, and if that isn't enough to get you angry, I planned the Great Hosu and Edgeshot Massacre.
Angering the heroes and heroes in training, they began pushing back the Island security drones, whilst Bakugo screamed as he blew up every screen to shut the villain up. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! You killed Izuku, Nato, and Togaru! When I find you, I'm gonna blow you to pieces! Bakugo roared his threats at the last remaining television monitor before being laughed at by Midoriya's scrambled voice.
Oh, I quiver with fear. Oh, and here is some incentive for you all to really go plus ultra. By my estimate, the rest of the League and several Nomu will have broken into David Shield's lab in under an hour. They will proceed to kill both All Might and G-Force, then take David Shield and Melissa Shield hostage. But in around half an hour, every hero in the conference room will be dead, and every civilian there shall soon follow with no chance of survival if you don't save them. Oh my, oh my, oh me, oh my, which to choose, which to choose. Either way, you'll need your full strength for whichever one you choose. No picking both!
With that final aggravating barb, Aizawa jumped and kicked the screen before Bakugo could even blow it up. Time ticked by as Mr. Compress had almost finished gathering the last hero. The sounds of the blast doors being damaged and destroyed got closer and closer. Quickly, the room flooded with security drones that immediately deactivated and reactivated into self-destruct mode, all of them armed to detonate in 1 hour. Midoriya's voice sounded over Toga, Spinner, and Compress's earpiece.
Time's up, you three. Leave the Nomu behind. They're fit only to be sacrificial pawns here. And distract the heroes while the bomb timer counts down. Kurogiri, warp them to the others. We need everyone to take down All Might, including me and Mustard. We'll join you momentarily.
Diverting 5 Nomu into the security room. Now, Mustard's cloud of gas was gone. Midoriya and Mustard made their way upstairs towards David Shield's lab. Upon arrival, the door was almost destroyed, almost allowing the League to get in. Activating their new quirks bestowed by All for One, Toga's knives began floating around her thanks to Wolfram's quirk that allowed him control over metal. Spinner grew in size, managing to tower over Hisashi, twice cracked his knuckles, now having enhanced strength and endurance, courtesy of Death Arms. Magni allowed some electrical energy to crackle in her palm. Compress created multiple air walls, protecting him from what would likely burst from that door, a benefit of one of Nine's quirks. As for Mustard, he aimed down the sight of his gun as it started glowing a warm orange glow. Meanwhile, the members of Phoenix Squadron did the same with their own new quirks. Monoma aiming his fingertips at the door, Kamakiri's hair sharpened into extra blades as he made use of Slice's quirk. Mineta slowly camouflaged with his surroundings, rendering himself invisible to the unattentive. Hagakure engaged her own true invisibility as her eyes began glowing a bright yellow. Jiro began testing her new quirk to be certain she had it ready for this, which caused her to blink from place to place. Ida's hands both sharpened into long pointed blades, whilst Shinzo began shaping his hand into various shapes using the stolen quirk of Kamui Woods. The door came crashing down, and 3 voices rang out as attacks rained against Compress's various air walls, which were being strengthened by an extra clone of himself from Twice. Texas Smash! The first voice was that of All Might, unsurprisingly to the villains. But it was the next 2 voices that caught them off guard. Island Smash! The shout of a young girl rang out. But not just any girl, Melissa Shield. But she was meant to be quirkless. The data said she'd been quirkless. Telekinetic Fury! But the final shout belonged to her, an enraged mother who'd likely heard Izuku's little speech earlier about orchestrating the Hosu and Ed Shot massacre. Hell hath no fury like an enraged Inko Midoriya. And that's our video for the day, so thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, there's a little bit of housekeeping I want to go over. First, if you're in the mood for some really great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered! Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check out all of that if you're interested. We have a lot of great content for you all. Second, on behalf of We the Celestials, I want to thank everyone who was involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details are also in the description. Give some love to the writer and the audio editor and video editor because they do a lot of work. Finally, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I want to extend to you an invitation to join our team. We only have one caveat: you must be 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord in the link in the description below. And that's it for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have an amazing day. And as always, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and stay awesome. This has been Tim, Mustache out.